The limits of our language mean the limits of our world. Language shapes the framework of our thoughts and perceptions. This profound statement by Ludwig Wittgenstein summarizes his exploration of the nature of language and its impact on our understanding of reality. Wittgenstein argued that the boundaries of language determine the boundaries of our thought and understanding. Marked by genius and a tireless pursuit of truth, Wittgenstein's journey revolutionized philosophy. His work delved into the logical structure of language and its influence on thought. His ideas continue to fascinate and challenge thinkers even today. Wittgenstein's philosophy of language made significant contributions to modern thought and analytic philosophy. Let's embark on a journey into Wittgenstein's philosophy, exploring his groundbreaking ideas and lasting influence. This journey will help us understand the limits of language and their impact on thought. Wittgenstein's early work reflects a quest for a logically perfect language. During this period, he investigated the logical structure of language and its effects on thought. It reflects the search for a logically perfect language. However, this quest changed over time, but his later work took a dramatic turn, rejecting his earlier views for a more nuanced understanding of language. Wittgenstein argued that the use and context of language play a critical role in the formation of meaning. It took a dramatic turn, rejecting his earlier views for a more nuanced understanding of language. This shift demonstrated that language is not just a tool for communication, but also a fundamental element of thought and understanding. Born in Vienna in 1889, Ludwig Wittgenstein is considered one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century. His work continues to shape contemporary philosophical thought. Wittgenstein's philosophical journey began with fundamental questions about reality, knowledge, and language. Unlike some philosophers, Wittgenstein's approach was more like that of a puzzle solver. He saw philosophical problems as knots in our thinking, stemming from our misunderstanding of language. His goal was to untangle these knots by carefully analyzing how language can mislead us. In his early work, Wittgenstein tried to establish a clear relationship between language and the world. He explored how language plays a role in our understanding and expression of the world. At the heart of Wittgenstein's early philosophy is the picture theory of language, which profoundly influenced analytic philosophy. This theory explains how language represents and makes sense of the world. Wittgenstein believed that language is a tool for depicting the world. He argued that the structure and use of language reflect the structure of reality. Just as a picture represents an object, language reflects the structure of reality. Language is a system that represents objects and events in the world. Propositions, the basic units of language, are like logical pictures of facts. These propositions represent situations and events in the world. This logical structure makes language meaningful. The meaningfulness of language depends on its accurate representation of the world. Only propositions that can be clearly mapped onto the world are considered meaningful. This emphasizes the connection between language and reality. Statements outside this logical framework, such as those concerning ethics or metaphysics, are deemed meaningless. Such statements transcend the limits of language and fail to offer a meaningful representation. To illustrate the picture theory of language, consider a simple sentence. The cat is on the mat. This sentence is a perfect example of how language represents the world. According to Wittgenstein, this sentence is meaningful because it can be broken down into its components, each corresponding to an element in the world. That is, the word cat corresponds to an actual cat, and the word mat corresponds to an actual mat. The sentence acts as a picture representing a situation in the world. This shows how language reflects and gains meaning from the world. The sentence is true if the cat is indeed on the mat. It is false if it is not. This simple example explains how language conveys the concepts of truth and falsehood. However, Wittgenstein realized that not all language operates in such a straightforward manner. Language doesn't just describe objects and situations, it also expresses complex thoughts and emotions. Language is a versatile tool used for various purposes beyond describing the world. People communicate, share information, and build social bonds through language. This realization led him to question the adequacy of his earlier views, paving the way for a radical shift in his philosophical thought. Wittgenstein began to explore the complexity and versatility of language more deeply. Wittgenstein's later philosophy marks a significant departure from his earlier views. He came to believe that the picture theory suffered from a crucial flaw. It imposed a rigid, logical framework onto a fluid phenomenon like language. This realization led him to embrace a more nuanced understanding of language. In his later work, Wittgenstein rejects the idea that language operates according to a single principle. Instead, he argues that language is like a toolbox filled with a variety of tools, each with its own use. This shift led Wittgenstein to develop the concept of language games. Imagine the language game of giving and following directions. In this game, words like left, right, north, and south guide someone to a location. The meaning of these words is determined by their role in navigation. Similarly, in the language game of playing chess, words like checkmate have specific meanings within the game. Wittgenstein argued that philosophical problems arise from a failure to recognize the diversity of language games. We try to apply the rules of one language game to another, and this leads to confusion. In Wittgenstein's later philosophy, meaning arises from the use of language in specific contexts. He famously wrote, "Don't ask for the meaning, ask for the use." To understand a word, we must examine how it is used in various language games. Consider the word game, which can refer to a wide range of activities. The word's meaning is determined by its role in different contexts. Similarly, words like good, beautiful, and true depend on the standards and criteria of different language games. Wittgenstein's later philosophy emphasizes the contextual and pragmatic nature of language. Wittgenstein's philosophical journey reflects a profound shift in his thinking about language and its relationship to the world. His early work continues to influence fields like logic and computer science. His later work has had a profound impact on the philosophy of language and the social sciences. Despite the differences, there's a common thread in Wittgenstein's project, a deep fascination with language. His legacy lies in his relentless pursuit of clarity and his profound insights into the workings of language. Wittgenstein's philosophy continues to resonate in the 21st century. His insights into the nature of meaning and the potential for misunderstanding are more relevant than ever. His work challenges us to pay attention to the language we use and to be aware of different interpretations. Wittgenstein's legacy is a call for philosophical humility and a reminder that the pursuit of understanding is ongoing. His work encourages us to embrace nuance, question assumptions, and engage in dialogue with empathy and intellectual rigor.